yeah, obviously this is part of our course, which is a presentation that we have to do, and part of the requirement has been to choose two of your most influential influences in your life to, I suppose, help you to get to where you are today. And I
Cool.
chose yourself, and so yeah, just want to thank you for taking time out of your night to yeah, do an interview with me. So I won't keep you too long. We've only
Yeah,
got
cool, cool.
a few questions here, but just for everyone to, I suppose, get a bit of a picture of yourself and who you are. Yeah, it'd be awesome if you could introduce yourself and just say a little bit about yourself.
Cool. Oh, kia ora everybody. My name's Leon Samuels. In my early 20s. Born and raised on Matakana Island, so I spent most of my life over there, growing up, and moved from there to Hamilton, lived there for quite a while, travelled overseas for quite a bit, and then moved back to New Zealand, and currently living in Tauranga Moana.
Choice. I think you answered pretty much straight away two of those questions that I had down. But yeah, I suppose one of the questions I wanted to ask is, when growing up, what was the music culture like? In your upbringing.
Music culture. A lot of what we were surrounded with was based upon what my mum and dad would listen to at the time. And a lot of that was the R&B or the old black school, black music, American black music. So a lot of what we listened to growing up was around that era, sort of the 70s music, the 80s, and also my brother was a DJ as well, so he had a lot of the latest music at the time, so we were growing up with a lot of the old school music as well as what was sort of current, because my brother would sort of play his music all the time, and that's how we sort of grew up learning or knowing a lot of that type of music. We were also surrounded by, my dad was a musician, and my mum came from a singing family, so the late Bunny Walters, well-known Māori entertainer in New Zealand. That was my mum's first cousin, so they grew up together, and my mum also had a little bit of singing background and stuff like that. So yeah, we were surrounded by music and the culture of music, entertainment, and all of that was pretty much what we grew up around. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, Buddy Walters, I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, you might have been just a thought in God's creation at that time, eh?
Yeah, I think I might have to do some research on that one.
Yeah, he had a few good hits. He had a few New Zealand hits.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably know them if I hear the tune or something. Choice pasta. So yeah, that leads us to our fifth question, which is, who were your personal influences in music or even performing arts when you were growing up?
First influence was kapahaka. So kapahaka had a huge influence upon my life, and that obviously at the top level, you know, that singing's pretty sharp when it comes to the top level of kapahaka. So Wakahuia was my go-to. So they were usually the number one team in New Zealand, Te Wakahuia, and so they were usually my go-to for kapahaka. Their singing was just, was perfection. All their harmonies and everything, their choreography and everything as well was amazing. So kapahaka had a big influence on my life, and that was mainly through watching Te Wakahuia. Also, my dad was a huge influence on me. Just his, I suppose, because he was self-taught, so a lot of what I learned was the same thing. The way he showed us or showed me, I sort of just picked it up and just learned from there. And also I used to love band like UB40. I used to listen to UB40 quite a bit. So that was the reggae style was another sort of influence upon my life. Okay. And yeah, so musically surrounded by family that all sang or entertained, or so a lot of my influences came from those three in particular.
Okay, there's a fair bit going on in there. Got quite a bit of a background. Yeah. What do you call it? With my upbringing, I only had a few sort of times that I jumped into kapahaka and that sort of thing. But just to hear, I suppose, your background on that, it's something a little bit more new that I didn't know about you before. So thank you for that, Pastor.
Yeah, cool.
We sort of missed one at the start. So how many are in your whānau?
I have 2 sisters and 4 brothers, so there's 7 siblings. And my dad's been passed away for the last 18 years, and mum's still alive, living at the homestead on Matakana Island.
7 brothers and sisters.
Yeah. I can't name how many nephews and nieces though. So.
100.
yeah, tribe.
Okay, so did you guys used to have any? Did you used to collab or anything when you were younger with your brothers and sisters, or you sort of just lone soldier it, or?
I suppose because of our we were all quite involved in kapahaka, so we all used to learn off each other, and sort of get tips, and if you're sort of flat, so the one would pull you up and sort of help you to fine tune your your note. But our mum was quite had a pedantic really with things like that. She had an ear for anything that was sort of off note. So she would always correct us if someone was off their note, and stuff like that. We were. I think it was more the magic of it all, just everyone jamming together, and then through that we would find our place in that sort of arrangement. Or if we were just having a sing song, everyone was sort of just knew, okay, so and so will take the harmony, so and so will take the melodies, or sort of things. So we sort of got to the point where we knew, I suppose, each other's gift, or where we best suited the arrangement and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. What would you say that your strengths were out of those? Was it guitar playing? Was it the singing? I heard you can do a bit of rapping.
I think I'm unique, so I cover quite a few things here. No. I don't know. I prefer to play the guitar more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Guitar is my thing more than anything.
Yeah. We'll go to what sort of stuff do you play when you do play?
Just the 3 chords. No.
Major chords.
Yeah. No, I like to challenge myself sometimes, and because there's some songs where you had learned, but then you heard it played from someone else, and you thought, that's different to what I've learned, and then you actually go and learn it properly,
Yeah,
And then you realise, oh man, I've missed a few notes for this, or a few chords for this song, the original. But I think that's good because just I suppose just that discipline in making sure that you're not just playing your own way, but playing it the original. And then if you're wanting to add on to that, that's cool. But I think learning the original first and then adding your stuff onto it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I get where you're coming there, because I like to just obviously make my own stuff up. Listen to the original and try and get that simple best before you start creating. Nah, don't flow.
Well, all I know is that if I was to ever play with Apostle Brian Tamaki, I need to know the right chords, because he won't let you play unless you.
Got a few of those people that I know. Sometimes I slot into that where it's like, are you making that up on the spot?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's choice. Coming back to, I suppose, the majority or the core of tonight, relating around music. What's your sort of take on how you personally went about it, like going from where you were to where you are now? Because I know that some people may know your testimony briefly, but would you be able to give a bit more of a in-depth on how you came to Christ and certain things leading up to, I suppose, your role as a pastor now? Yeah.
Well, I suppose the turning point for me was when my father had passed away, given that he was, as I mentioned earlier, a huge influence on my life. And I know that when he passed away, it felt like a huge hole in my life. And I suppose at that time, I didn't really know what else to do but to turn to more alcohol, more drugs, stuff like that, to try and bury the sorrow and bury the pain. Obviously didn't lead me to anything but downward spiral in my life, where I hit rock bottom and never thought I would, but attempted suicide, which was something I thought I'd never ever do in my life. But at that time of my life, that was the only answer I could see anyway, was just to end it all. But I thank God, because in the moment, or in my crisis, came Christ. And I ended up reaching out through a friend to go to church, as I had heard Apostle Brian Tamaki on TV one early morning, and his message just captured me and hit the very areas that I was, obviously dealing with in my life. And I just knew straight away, man, I need to get to church. Didn't know which church, wasn't too sure, but when I heard Apostle, I thought, man, I need to get to this Destiny Church. So I found a church, Destiny Church in Hamilton, and went along, and pretty much it was the beginning of my journey, my walk in God, there in Destiny Church Hamilton. So that was over 16 years ago now that I recommitted my life to Christ, and haven't looked back. And Pastor John had a huge part to play in that as well, in shaping me and mentoring me, along with our awesome apostle. And I'm truly blessed to be where I am today because of what Christ has done, because of the word that has come over the pulpit via Pastor John in my early days, and then through Apostle. And where we are today as pastors is obviously because of the amazing things that God has done within our lives to open up this door for my wife and I and our family here in Tauranga to pastor Destiny Church and do the very same thing there and even greater within the city of Tauranga through helping other people and bringing them to their place of salvation and knowing who they are and all of that. So yeah.
That's pretty encouraging right there, Pastor. Just that brief snippet that you just said. There's probably one or two things that you've mentioned to me that that maybe some other people don't know of, and I'm going to come for this one right here, which is you were in the music team for a period of time when you were over in Hamilton. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? How it came about and how long you were in the music team for?
Yeah, I suppose it wasn't necessarily because of the amazing gift I had. I think it was more so because they were short of men in the team. So I think I was just a fill-in at the time. I loved it. Loved being in the worship team within the vocals. So one of the ladies that was leading the worship team at the time, and she sort of asked me if I would jump in the team, and only because I think it was only myself and maybe even with one other guy that was singing in the team. At the time, I was overseeing youth and kids ministry, so I didn't really have heaps of time to commit myself as much as I wanted to the worship team. But there were times where I would lead a couple of songs, so would lead 2 songs that I was comfortable with. wasn't going to step out and do anything else that was out of my comfort zone at the time. But
do you remember what those songs were?
Oh, far out. One was a worship song. I can't remember, but I'm trying to think of the praise song. Get Ready, I think it was called.
Okay.
Shucks, I'm just trying to think of the beat. Get ready. No. I can't remember. Yeah, it mustn't have been that good. Why I can't remember.
Out of the back of the memory, eh?
No, yeah, I stored that one far back in my memory.
Choice. Cool. So how long were you in the worship team for, Pastor?
I don't think I was in there for that long, because it wasn't too long after that we became pastors or assistant pastors. So obviously that changed our role a lot. So my commitment to other areas within the church became greater. So worship team, it wasn't long. I can remember it wasn't a long time that I was in the worship team. May even be 6 months, I think. And then things changed. So yeah.
How soon from giving your life to Christ into coming into the worship team for that short period of time? How long had it been since the start?
I think might have been a couple of years before because it wasn't on my thing. It wasn't what I was desiring to do at the time. Was the worship team. At the time, my sort of focus or my heart was more into the youth ministry, and other ministries that were going on at the time. I sort of put my heart towards all of those. So the worship team wasn't really what I was intending and focused on. It just happened that one day they were asking for some men to jump in the team, but not too many did. So I just thought, okay, I'll just jump in.
Yeah, hungry.
Yeah. Just I suppose it was just a matter of heeding to the call. Sometimes just gotta do it.
Yeah. I like that one. Just getting in there.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't to be. I mean, yeah, I was still learning a lot of things in my own life. It wasn't, I wasn't perfect, but I did know that I loved God and I loved church and just wanted the best to do the best.
Mm.
Yeah.
Choice, Pastor. One thing within that, I did put down here for one of our questions, specific tasks that you did when you were within the team. But if you can sort of think back or look back, what do you think was one of the best things that you learnt from being in that for the duration that you were in for the 6 months?
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose it was more about me being confident in my ability to lead, because I was happy to be in on the BVs. I was happy with that, because at the time we had mic stands, so we were just all standing behind the mic stands, which felt like there was a bit of cover from the crowd. So but then to be brought to the front was, obviously a little bit scary, but it was just more, I suppose, just thinking again about not worrying about what was before me, but who was for me. So I didn't get caught up in the crowd. I just got caught up in God, really, and then just went hard. There were times where I went flat, but that was where, correction came and helped me, and always being open to correction too was a big thing I learned, because not too often you like to be corrected about something that you think you're the man at. So those are the two things I suppose I learned a lot, was being confident and being able to take correction.
Choice, two very important things for growth, Pastor?
Very important. Yeah.
Funny you talk about that, because we talked about that at Man Up tonight. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good.
But awesome. Heading back to what you mentioned before about key figures in your life to help you grow and to move into where God's called you today. You mentioned two people, which at the time was Pastor John and still currently Apostle. Just a quick, I suppose, snippet on your relationship with Pastor John and how, that helped propel you forward to, I suppose, getting into this place where you are now and or helping along.
Yeah, it was. There were key things that, when I look back, one would be the heart of a father, because when I go back to what I said originally, losing a father, you're looking, for that father figure. And so Pastor John at the time was like that for myself, and believed in me, could see, that there were things in me that I couldn't see at the time, but, would always encourage me, same thing, correct me, and build me to, to realize the potential within. And forever grateful and thankful for that. And that was very much the heart of our apostle, really, that was coming through there. And so it was just only natural that what was being spoken through Pastor John would also be directed or spoken through our apostles. So the two were as one, really, and that's how, and I'll always remember that first time I heard Apostle on TV. I couldn't get their voice out of me. It was the voice of God, really, that I held true to and always always saw Apostle. Even from that very day, I heard him. Didn't know him from a bar of soap, but I did know in my heart that this man's got something that I'm, that I'm wanting. And ever since, they've just tuned my heart, my ears to the word of God, the preached word of God, and has kept me, not only steadfast but growing. And they've been two huge influences to help me in my walk journey to grow and keep growing.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. Yeah, wow. There's a few things that you mentioned there that obviously you are my influence for me doing what I'm doing today. You've played a massive part in helping cultivate me, motivate me, grow me to be able to come into this position that I am now. There's always something that's stuck with me that you've said, and which is it's not you're it before you become it. So before you actually get the title or you get the position or whatever it is, it's in you, and it's something that has to be grown. It's something that you just do without anyone coming to tell you to do. And so since I can remember the time and the day actually when you asked me to jump up and give worship a bit of a go and to sing on that trip up to Auckland when we went to listen to Apostle. And so I suppose a whole lot of the key things that have helped me to grow and to move forward is the fact that I'm pretty much connected. I'm connected to you, and you're connected to our Apostle, and I'm getting that fresh download, that apostolic voice that comes from Apostle and through you and into me. And so in my personal journey, there's been a whole lot of things that I've encountered and that I've faced that that have helped shape me and grown me and helped me to become a better leader. But obviously without the identifying, without the pushing and encouraging, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. And so just want to thank you for that, Pastor, and come
awesome
from that angle.
Awesome.
So I suppose we'll get on to this last question before we finish pretty soon, which is what is the best piece of advice that you would give someone that may be interested in music, sitting on their gift and has potential to flourish and grow in ministry?
I suppose there's a few things. One would be be open enough to learn, because sometimes we think we know it all, or we've come from a background of being maybe the top dog in a band or a group or whatever, but then coming into God is a whole nother dimension. Really, it's not necessarily about your gift, because gifts can be, gifts are everywhere in the world. For me, it's more about your character. It's about your integrity to the gift. It's about using the gift that God has given us. And I've always believed this, using your gift for God, that God has given us to light up this world, because it's an atmosphere changer, it's an atmosphere creator, and it's a presence builder. So for me, it's more than just your gift, it's what you bring in every area of your life. So you carry it more. It's more than just the gift, it's what you carry within you that makes the gift even more. Don't just build your gift, build your character, build everything in your life, because it'll help your gift shine even more.
Amen on that. Oh, that's the key. That's the gold right there, Pastor. The gift comes after the character. That's something that I see a lot of people sort of get it back to front. And maybe you've someone's come into ministry or come into a place where they've been putting their gift before their character, but just to see it start to flip around and see them actually merge together, where you're able to marry the gift and the character together. It's a beautiful sight to see. And everything just flows. And so I personally have taken on that approach, and how I go about doing the things that I do. From that right there is that when you get the character right, everything flows. If your character keeps you there, your gift might get you there, but your character keeps you there. And so just want to thank you for that one, Pastor. And
cool.
And I definitely know that those words would be encouraging to those who are, I suppose, for the specific ministry wanting to, come in or even think about coming in. So,
Awesome.
For that. Finally, before we close up this interview.
Good everybody. So my name's Caleb Cave. Everyone calls me Kays. Just a brief introduction. I've been married for 13 years, got 3 beautiful kids, 2 girls and 1 boy, which I absolutely adore. In our current home, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us living together. 1 boarder from church, mum and dad and our sister, and obviously my wife and I and our kids. So the house is always humming. And for music, I currently am the director for the Sound of Destiny and Destiny Church nationally, and absolutely am privileged to be doing that, mate. So let's get into the questions, and first of all, just a big mihi to the brother Shane. Huge honour to be doing this in the first place, brother, so much love. So I grew up in Ōtara, South Auckland. Was born in Thames Hospital, and through family circumstance, mum and dad going through some battles, mum brought myself and my baby sister to Auckland, and we lived in what is now our family home in Ōtara. Basically stayed in the sitting room of Nan's house for a few years, and got till we could get on our feet and start figuring out what's what. How many in my whānau? So I've got 2 sisters and a brother, and obviously mum and dad have been split, and then I've got a half brother as well on my dad's side. So what were the core set of beliefs that you had growing up? Well, growing up I was a little bit scattered, to be really honest and to be fair. And I lived the kind of life where it was you took every day as it came, try to be as fair as you could, but you make sure that you get by. And back then my morals weren't sound, and got up to a bit of mischief, and was a young man trying to find out what it took to be a man, basically, and through that journey got caught up in the wrong crowds, was led astray, and did a lot of wrongs. So my core beliefs, they weren't very strong growing up as a young man, but I cared about family, and I cared about friends, always looking out for those that I loved. What was the music culture like in your upbringing? Back then, most of the music happened in parties, funnily enough. So when there was a big drink up, or when all the family would come around. That's when the guitars came out. That's when the music was really, really loud. We didn't have much growing up, so things like stereos and radios didn't come until I was well into my late teens. So growing up, music wasn't as common in our whānau, but whenever it was on, I was in there. Hip hop, R&B were definitely some of my favorites growing up. Personal influences in performing arts or music growing up. Funny enough, I got quite full on involved in the performing arts at school, and I had a teacher called Miss Graham, and she was the most unlikely person by face value that you would ever think would become such a big impact in my life regarding performing arts. And she took me under her wing, and was really hard on me about the arts, because she saw some talent there, and I think it was the first time somebody had actually started to invest in me that didn't have to, and so it had my attention, and we did all sorts of things. Like I remember auditioning for Black Grace and getting some opportunities there. We did stage challenge and all of that stuff back then, and we actually did really, really well, to the point where a lot of my classmates and the guys that I used to dance with were the founders of Desire and a lot of the dance crews that are coming up today. So yeah, a lot of really talented people were around me growing up in the arts anyway. So she fostered a lot of that and was a huge influencer. In terms of the secular music scene, South Auckland growing up, so there was always a lot of Pac, Biggie, Bone Thugs and Harmony, a lot of that sort of stuff. I got into a lot of DMX, so it was a lot of angry music, very different these days, but there's a lot of angry music there, and I suppose it was easy to relate to back then. So those were key influences in the music scene of my life. So brief testimony of coming to Jesus. So at the age of 18, I'd done a lot of damage in our family, and Mum was always a real solid pillar for me. Whenever things were going wrong, when I was in trouble with the police, when things were blowing up, wherever, however, she was kind of my strength and my place of solidarity, really. And there came a day where I realized I'd really hurt her, and she'd asked me to leave, and with that I had to really do a lot of soul searching and realize that I wasn't doing the things that I should be doing, and wasn't living the life that I needed to be living, but I didn't know anything else. So it was a really stink place to be, knowing that you love your mum but you'd hurt her, and she was starting to worry about my younger brother and sister coming through, and the role model that I was being towards them. And so I remember a look in her eyes and her asking me to leave, and I brushed it off then and there, and tried to harden myself through it, but the reality was, deep down inside, it had shook me quite deep, and I didn't realize how deep until I went to stay at my father's house, and was too much with him. It was too much for him, and that didn't last too long, and came back to South Auckland, didn't really have a place to stay, realised a lot of those that I thought were friends and the boys were only really at quite a surface level, and found myself real lost. Stayed on the streets for a night, trying to act like the man, trying to pretend on all fronts to friends, family, mum, dad, all of that I was all good, didn't need any help. Little did they know I was staying under sleeping under an e-waste bin in Takanini for the night. And at the time, my koro who's now passed, was a taxi driver and an Anglican minister, and he knew all the stuff that I've been going through, and decided that he'd come and look for me. He found me, and anyway, I had quite a rough night, and he said, "Oh, look, I'll take you out to a concert tonight, and we'll have dinner afterwards, and then all going well, you can stay with me for a few nights till you get yourself on your feet." And I mean, from where I stood, that was all really positive stuff, you know. So I was very keen on all the above, but you know, tried to play it off like, yeah, all good. And then anyway, long story short, jumped in the car, and he took me to this concert, which was in Mount Wellington. And we're driving along Carbine Road, turns down Alright Place. I see the Destiny Church sign. I tell him pull the car over. The scene happening, and he's like, "No, the deal stands. Let's just see how tonight goes." And to be really honest, I didn't have too many options. You know, I had tried it all, and nothing seemed to be working. Trying to figure things out on my own steam always fell short, and my koro had always been someone solid in my life, you know. So I thought, even if it's just for him tonight, it's worth giving it a go. So I went in and I said to him, "Look, I'm not promising nothing. I'm not going to be nice to nobody, but I'll do it, you know." Came through the night. This was a youth night. Back then was called D-Shock, and I think the thing that really shook me was hearing the testimony from young people talking about their journey, you know, talking about saving themselves from sex till marriage, no drugs, no alcohol. And for me, a lot of that was really foreign. And I was only 18 years old, you know, and I heard young people talking about the fact that they were really proud of their stand and proud of their walk. And so had to really wrestle with that throughout the night. And then by the end of it, I kind of had arrived at this point where I thought, look, if this is for real, I'm going to test these people. I'm going to put the test on everything that they've said tonight, and if it's for real, then maybe I can have this for my family one day, you know. So I went up the front that night, not fully knowing what I was doing, but I gave my heart to the Lord. And there began the journey. That Sunday, that weekend, I went through a whole lot of craziness. I went to a party, got smashed, did some things that I regretted, and then basically Saturday night I realised I've had enough. What a mess. And so went to church again on the Sunday, and fully committed, and fast forward nearly 20 years now, haven't looked back at all. So that's how I came to Christ. Now, taking on the role of music director, it actually started, I started off as a member of the choir, just wanting to serve, just wanting to be involved in the place that helped me, you know. So I started in the back row of the choir, got pushed to the front row. Was too much of I moved too much, so they put me as the choir conductor. Had no idea how to conduct, but was keen for the challenge. And then I think I started busting backflips, all sorts of mayhem going on, and they decided, shucks, okay, we need to tie him down with a mic. So he gave me a mic with a cord. First Sunday with the cord, I unplugged it and held the cord in my hand as well, because I was so conscious of my voice. I didn't really like my singing voice. From there, slowly built up my confidence, moved on to one of the front vocal mics, then to support lead, and then on my final, what was supposed to be my final night singing, my wife and I were looking at heavily committing to the youth ministry at the time, and on my final night singing with the team, I was asked, maybe lead a song, and I was like, okay, that'll be fun, be a cool way to sign off, you know. Led a song, and the rest is history. Became a worship leader then, and was pretty much told, you are not letting the mic go, which is a huge privilege, and it's a huge honor. And it's really funny how all of that took place, and started pretty much in the back row of the choir, and have worked to be better, whatever it was put in front of me. And then was worship leading for a matter of years, and was asked to take over the ministry in its entirety. So massive journey. That's just under 20 years of growth and progression, just being faithful to my post. But that's basically how it happened. What specific tasks did you take on when coming into the role of worship lead? Basically, it started off just nominating songs that we would sing, and then for me it grew into wanting to contribute to atmosphere, wanting to really support the Word of God when it comes the best that I could. It grew into me wanting to cultivate an atmosphere where healing could take place, where smiles could be put back on people's faces, where people may come in going through all sorts of things but would leave feeling powerful. So that's, the tasks, I suppose, are more in the intention. I work pretty hard on the craft, not in ways probably people would think, but in the ways of presenting myself the best that I possibly can, so that if God sees fit, He can use whatever's presented on a Sunday to help somebody. Did you have a mentor or multiple people to help guide you through that phase of your life? I think I'm really fortunate with my spiritual father, Apostle Brian Tamaki. He's been a mentor for me, and if you move the singing aside, the thing I'm constantly mindful of is with praise and worship, particularly because I've done the performing arts, I've done rapping, dancing, everything you can think of, acting, been involved in it all. But the thing I hold in high respect is within the praise and worship is it is something that God uses quite specific as a vehicle to help shift lives. And for me, he's been an ultimate mentor, where the way that he's lived has always been about people. And so I've gleaned off that for many years, trying to be better, trying to present the best possible sound, present the best possible example that I can as a man. Whenever there were hurdles, whenever there were stumbling blocks, he's always been there as well to help pick me up, or encourage, and sometimes even affirm. That's been a huge part to how I've been able to stick at it for so long and grow. What is the best piece of advice that you would give someone that may be interested in music? So I mean the best piece of advice I could give is do the thing that really wakes you up in the morning. And for me, it's funnily enough, it's building the church. I don't have to be on stage, to be fair. There are many times where I'm trying to push people forward, to be honest, because I love seeing others flourish in their gift as well. But I mean, what wakes me up in the morning is the church saved my life. There's no doubt about it. It saved my life to where now I've got beautiful kids that know the Lord and are living far greater than I did at their age, and have so much more understanding and just a purity about them. But what wakes me up is the demand on my life. Knowing that I'm used by God to help people through a gift called music. So do what wakes you up in the morning, because it will never be hard work. And when the hard parts do come, your willingness to go through them is so much stronger because you believe in what you're doing and you have a desire to see it through. So yeah, make sure you wake up passionate about what it is you do. What is my favorite song, artist, genre? So genre, it would have to be hip hop, to be really honest. Hip hop, funk, listening to a lot of funk these days. Artist, I don't know if I have an artist at the moment. Yeah, I can't say I have an artist at the moment. But a song that is a favorite of mine would have to be the Black Men United, Hold On. And I think it's my favorite just because of the amount of times I've been asked to sing it at quite special occasions, and the story behind the song, it just resounds with me as well. So yeah, I'd have to say if I needed to choose a favorite song, it would probably be that one. What I love personally about music is that it's a platform that you can speak a powerful message, and it's a platform that breaks down barriers in people's lives faster than a lot of others do. So yeah, if you're out there and you're into music, here's a challenge: make sure the music that you're singing, make sure the music that you're writing is going to impact a life, because otherwise what's it all for? Yeah, so much love again, brother Shane. Just want to honour you, bro. Yeah, honoured to have done this, brother. And yeah, much love, family. Have a great day.